Hey Pokemon Masters, my name is Berkeeper Toby, thank you for clicking on my video. Welcome to the full explanation of the Pokemon timeline, and that is that the Pokemon timeline does not exist. Thank you for watching, and of course, so hi Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by...
Okay, wait, slow down there, Ash Ketchum. Okay. Pokemon Timeline is a garbled mess. Just a super quick recap. Gen 1 followed by Gen 2, that totally makes sense. And then, in fact, Fire Red and Leaf Green, they can act as replacements for Generation 1, and they happen at the same time as their subsequent games, Ruby and Sapphire. Do the same thing with Diamond and Pearl, and replace the old Gold and Silver with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Black and White, they can happen sometime in the future. Black and White 2, they're absolutely sequels. So far, so good. We're just retconning the original games with their remakes, Fire Red, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Okay, cool, great, wonderful. Except now we have Pokemon X and Y and ORAS, and we start seeing our first set of problems. Number one, there's an official tweet that gets deleted very, very quickly. This is from an official creator of Pokemon, a developer of the Pokemon games. They tweeted out this timeline and then deleted it. Why? Clearly, it was not the message that Pokemon wanted out there about their lore and their world. And in fact, in a recent interview, Junichi Masuda even officially said in an official interview that there is no definitive Pokemon timeline, and it's more about building out the world and not to try and worry ourselves untangling it. Oh no, Junichi. This is fun for me. I get it, there's no official timeline, well done, we're not doing that anymore. Clearly, with the deletion of this tweet, Pokemon, you don't want it out there, you don't want an official canon. Instead, you want to people think more about the Pokemon world. How the regions all coexist, but the stories sometimes might be different. Like, for example, in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Red doesn't defeat Team Rocket. Instead, the protagonist characters do. Meanwhile, in the original Pokemon games, Red is the one to defeat Team Rocket. So how does that work with the timeline? Is it a multiverse? Don't worry about it, is your answer. However, that answer, the multiverse, is an answer that Pokemon themselves have given in the games at Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where in the Delta episode we learn about the parallel timelines, and that helps rectify a few little problems. For example, if a Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were set to replace the original Ruby and Sapphire on the timeline that was established, then it wouldn't make sense because Wally doesn't age between then and Sun and Moon. But Red does. So problems, inconsistencies, whatever. I'm here to tell you I have a solution that works within the framework of a multiverse, but doesn't just go, multiple universes, timelines, whatever, see ya.
This is Ash Ketchum.
But instead goes a little bit deeper into explaining not just the timelines of the games, but also the timelines of the show, the manga, the movies. Just my opinion about what's going on in the world of Pokemon. So, here we go, Pokemon timeline fully established. The core timelines. So we start off as zoomed out as humanly possible in this big multiverse bubble, a big ball containing every single possible multiverse to do with the world of Pokemon. Zoom in and you see a couple of different things running alongside each other. You've got the Pokemon TV show featuring Ash leaving Pallet Town and going off on his adventures. You've got the Pokemon manga featuring Red leaving Pallet Town, going off on his adventures. You've got the world of the games, which has a character called Red, or possibly Leaf, depending on what version you play, going off from Pallet Town on their adventures. You've got Pokemon Masters, you've got Detective Pikachu, the game and the movie, two different tellings of the same story, and really that's what's going on across all of these different tellings. Whether it's the manga, whether it's the TV show, whether it's the games, they're all different tellings of the world of Pokemon. We'll get back to some of those like other side games, Mystery Dungeon, Conquest, we'll get to all that stuff. We'll talk about that at the end, but for now I want to zoom in and focus on the games. What's happening there? Well, lots of people always like talking about the mega timeline and the non-mega timeline, and other people understand the multiverse as being your version of the game versus my version of the game. If you've got Pokemon X and I've got Pokemon X, they're different versions of the same, of the Pokemon multiverse, in which you started with a Fennekin and I started with a Froakie. And even if you did start with a Froakie and so did I, it wouldn't matter because maybe you went left instead of right and we didn't have the exact same playthrough that started on the exact same day at the exact same time. Our playthroughs are fundamentally different into which patches of grass we walk in and what members of our team we catch. And so with that, every copy of every Pokemon game is its own pocket universe in the multiverse. But we want to zoom out a little bit, somewhere between how all the games connect to each other and how each individual game is different. Well, in my opinion, there are 13 core timelines, and I know you think I'm really off on one now, but I do. I think there's 13 core timelines, and here's my logic. So we're going to start off with the 3 classic timelines, and the classic timelines are made up of red, blue, and yellow, gold, silver, and crystal. And as you can see here, I've got certain games following one another. Yellow and crystal are the middle version, so I've put them on the same core core timeline. Pokemon Blue is followed by Pokemon Silver, and Pokemon Red is followed by Pokemon Gold. And there's a very specific reason that I've done this, and the answer is version-exclusive Pokemon. See, out of these classic games, it's only in Red and Gold that you can catch the Pokemon Growlithe, and in Silver, you can catch Vulpix and Ninetales. There's a number of other examples, but basically all of the version exclusives of Red line up with Gold, and Silver lines up with Blue. To me, in the same way people talk about mega timelines and non-mega timeline, you've got a Growlithe timeline and a Vulpix timeline. One where that species of Pokemon is more common and the other species of Pokemon is extremely rare, maybe wiped out by its alternate competition. So here in the classic timelines, you've still got 3 different core timelines. These are 3 of the 13 that I mentioned earlier. Pokemon Yellow followed by Pokemon Crystal, Pokemon Blue followed by Pokemon Silver, Pokemon Red followed by Pokemon Gold. Now, like I said earlier, you can then zoom in even further. Let's take just Pokemon Blue, for example. And in this grand multiverse, you could say your copy of Pokemon Blue, where you started with Bulbasaur, and my copy of Pokemon Blue, where I started with Squirtle, and someone else's copy, where they started with Charmander, and someone else's, where they started with Charmander, except they caught a Nidoran male instead of a Nidoran female, that kind of thing. So you've got all these different versions within the multiverse, but you zoom out and you've still got one consistent core timeline, which is Pokemon Blue. It's followed by the events of Pokemon Silver. Now I know what you're thinking. You can hook up a link cable and you can trade from Pokemon Gold to Pokemon Blue. And in those games, the device is known as the time capsule, but the actual physical bit of technology that you use is called a link cable. And in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, the link cable is the name given to interdimensional wormholes. So even if the character of Bill, who created the time capsule, thinks it's just a time machine, it's not. It's also a interdimensional time machine, because it uses the link cable, which in the canon of Pokemon is what you use to transport things throughout timelines, and that's what they're doing in the Delta episode when they're trying to get rid of the Deoxys meteorite and send it to the world of the original Ruby and Sapphire. So anyway, those are the 3 classic timelines. They are 3 of 13. Let's look at the next batch. We'll call these for the advanced timelines or the reboot timelines, and they take the exact same premise, focusing on version exclusive Pokemon. Pokemon Fire Red, Heart Gold, Sapphire, and Pearl all share the same version exclusive Pokemon, and that translates even further to Pokemon White, which is obviously followed by Pokemon White 2. Then the opposite side to that is Leaf Green, Ruby, Soul Silver, Diamond, Black, and Black 2. They also all share version exclusive Pokemon. Now, where this gets tricky, and the reason I've introduced another 2 timelines here, which is that there's still more middle games, which are Platinum and Emerald. So I've just doubled up on each of those core timelines, except this time replacing Ruby and Sapphire with Emerald and replacing Diamond and Pearl with Platinum. So we're already down 7 of the timelines. Let's take a look at the next 4, which are the Mega Timelines. These are, in my opinion, the 4 core kind of canonical sets of events, and all 4 of the timelines are ended with either Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, or Ultra Moon. And they begin with either Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee, and simply, Let's Go Pikachu and the Moon and Ultra Moon games, their version exclusive is Alolan Vulpix, whereas Let's Go Eevee and Sun and Ultra Sun, theirs is the Alolan Sandshrew line. And so that's how I determined the 4 timelines, and then in the middle, based on, again, version exclusives that make sense across all of them, you've got Let's Go Pikachu followed by Omega Ruby and X, and then either Moon or Ultra Moon, or Let's Go Eevee followed by Alpha Sapphire and Pokemon Y, and then Sun or Ultra Sun. And this massively accounts for the issue that we see at the end of Sun or Ultra Sun, where we have like Red and Wally, who supposedly Generation 1 and Generation 3, yeah, they happen at the same time, but that doesn't make sense anymore. In fact, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire have to happen closer to the Generation 6 games than we initially thought, because in those games, they directly reference the gym leader Valerie, the fairy-type gym leader, who is in Pokemon X. And Y. I don't know why I left Y out. I'm getting very confuddled with all of the names. There's a lot going on here. The final 2 games, the final 2 core timelines, all we know that exists on them at the moment are Pokemon Sword or Pokemon Shield. And this gives us the 13 core timelines. And while my explanation may not have been super eloquent, the theory is super simple, Pokemon Masters. Using this set of 13 core timelines that could continue to diverge and split and create more different timelines, I'm just getting sick of saying the word timelines, you can zoom in to any point, to any individual game and say, okay, in the Pokemon multiverse, Pokemon Red and Blue, they're parallel versions of each other, your copy of Pokemon Blue, my copy of Pokemon Blue, different starters, yada yada yada. You can say that, you can do that, but then you can zoom out and kind of see, I guess, the structure of the multiverse a little bit better. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, you can then zoom out even further, and you can look at all of the different mediums of Pokemon. Because all 13 of those core timelines, I guess not including the Sword and Shield ones, all of them start with a red-like character and a Kanto-type adventure, and this is paralleled in the manga and in the Pokemon TV show. These are all still the Pokemon world being told in a different medium, and if you use this model, you can explain every single timeline and event in Pokemon, and just every time there's a new medium, let's take Pokemon Origins for example, that's not part of the main show, it's just a parallel telling of the same events. I mean, interestingly, I do have a side theory about how the Pokemon animated series is actually an animated cartoon that exists within the world of the Detective Pikachu movie, and that's why the Detective Pikachu knows the theme song and he's singing it while crying it in the film, but that is a side theory for another time. For now, this is how I currently think about the Pokemon timeline, and I know, Jinichi, you told us not to kind of like spend time wrestling with this and trying to untangle it, but to me it's fun. And I know to a lot of you it is as well, and to me this kind of this sense of structure, it means that when we're having conversations about what the Megaverse is or the non-Megaverse, I think this helps. I think it's just gonna help us in future dialogue. Anyway, that's my current theory. This is the thing about the Pokemon timeline. You're all wonderful, thank you for listening to me ramble, and of course, soar high Pokemon Masters. For real this time.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master!
And a massive thank you to those of you supporting me on Patreon right now, including the big patron of this month, Gunnar Clovis. Thank you, heroes.